She counted. Wait, let me go get the slushie first before we start. But it doesn't really need a weapons license. We usually just ask anyway. It's fine. Don't need a weapons license. We never really had money to buy one anyway. Slash. The whip snapped and echoed throughout the dark room. Pain seared her naked back. The whip's wielder, a tall, uniformed man, said nothing and only reeled back for another shot. Slash. So chat, this is like before. It's like during the 3.0. It's like the 2.0, 3.0 transition. Move the story to the other side so chat isn't covered. Ooh, true. It's cool too. By her count, that would have been the 14th slash. At this point, though her mind has lost all sense of time, she could only sense how ravaged the flesh on her back already is, skin torn. All she could muster was a whimper. "My friends," she said. "Sterilize her," the man yelled at the guard, standing by the dark room's only opening. The guard, holding a bucket of clear liquid, approached the woman. She could not see what was happening, but she heard the guard's footsteps as the soft creak of the bucket's handle grew louder. Then she felt a splash on her bloodied back, a pungent antiseptic smell mixed in with the stench of her blood. But she couldn't even think about what the smell was. After a second, excruciating pain burned her entire back. All the pain from the past 40 slashes came soaring back. She couldn't even yell. Before she collapsed, the woman mustered enough strength to put her tattered hospital gown over her bloody back. And as she lost all consciousness, she heard the uniformed man, guard in tow, march out the door. Hours or weeks later, the woman woke up, a tray of cafeteria food in front of her, and another guard, not the one who dumped liquid on her, stood by the door. She instinctively reached for her back. The blood had already dried, but touching it still stung. "Where are my friends?" she asked the guard, remembering her final whimper before she collapsed from her regular lashing. The guard stood silent, staring into nothing. He was nothing like Teddy. "Teddy? Does it sound so familiar?" she thought. The woman, racked with turmoil, could only remember all her friends. Only remembered all her friends. A man named Mike Block, another man named Cheddar, an elderly man named Mel Rickenbacker. "Where are my friends?" She ate. Midway through the meal, she drifted back into sweet, sweet sleep, still exhausted from the lashing. "You don't have any friends for number 40, the uniformed man yelled. The whip came again. This time it was much stronger. The man had had enough of the woman, asking for her friends all the time. With each lash, the woman remembered each and every one of the people she met on the outside. Then, she forgot each and every one. "If they were my friends, they would have come and saved me," she thought. Each lash was another friend off her list. Each lash was not her friend. "Since they aren't here, they're not my friends." Out of anger and desperation to stop the beatings, she forgot everyone. Once again, the bucket came. She collapsed. She never even bothered counting how many lashes it was this time. In another time, or perhaps another universe, the woman now once again called number 40 was a famed criminal in a big city. Everyone, eager to meet with a woman who could only remember 100 friends at a time, fought for her friendship. But unfortunately for her, that time, or that reality, has snapped to an end. Sometime and somewhere in this maybe fictional world, armed and masked men came and clubbed the woman to unconsciousness while she was alone. Her friends were nowhere to be found. She was hastily smuggled into a van and driven out of the big city. When she woke up, she was again stripped of her clothing and placed in a clean, new hospital gown. The black room she was put in, which she intimately calls the black box, was the same one she grew up grew up out of, the people who raised her, an army of uniformed men, and the stalwart guards apparently never forgot about her and her escape years ago. Now, in between her violent episodes, she cried every day for the friends who abandoned her, and yet amid her emotional turmoil, she never forgot two things: the name Teddy and the word friendship. Though she doesn't know what these two words mean, remembering them was enough to keep her sane, even if her captors tried so hard to indoctrinate her. When the woman woke up again, she was lying on the cold, hard concrete. She stopped remembering the names of her friends. It was easy because she could only count to 100. As painful as it is, she realized that her friends— no, they weren't her friends— aren't coming after her. This time, the guard who first held antiseptic buckets was standing by the door. The same tray of food lying on the floor. She didn't ask for her friends anymore. The guard didn't pretend not to hear her either. Depressed, she just ate her food. "Escape," a voice faintly whispered in her ear. "What was that?" she asked, looking up at the guard. He was as stoic as a brick wall. Only a bead of sweat falling from his brow was the only indication that he was alive. She looked around if anyone else was in the room. No one. Suddenly, she remembered who the voice belonged to. "Daddy?" she whispered. After uttering his name, a wave of memories flooded back into her mind. Why did I hear that? Who is Teddy? Isn't Teddy dead? Endless questions peppered her brain, not knowing how she could hear a voice from beyond the grave. "Shh, it's going to be okay," the voice whispered again. And then she remembered. She remembered a friendly man who cared for her when she was first here. While the uniformed man was always mean to her, the friendly man always checked up on her after every lesson, after every lashing. Was he a guard? Another uniformed agent? A kind janitor? She never found out. She doesn't even know his name. She calls her Teddy because he always came with a teddy bear for her. She doesn't remember what happened to him. All she remembers is waking up in a pool of blood with a teddy bear soaked in blood. It was, however, enough to calm her thoughts down. Teddy is still out there. With a calm head, she thought of the last time she escaped. If you count to 100 after you finish eating, the guard will move your tray and leave the room. Until 100 again, the new guard will come. The fourth end, you can sneak out. They will leave the door unlocked, thinking you're incapacitated away anyway. Once you exit the door, head left and enter the second door you see. It's a broom closet I use in between shifts. The vent exits to the outside, crawl in, go forward, and once you're out, run far, far away. And stop. Teddy explained all this to her before. Perhaps awakened by the thought of Teddy, she could list all the steps she took with remarkable lucidity. It got her out before, it should get her out this time again. Besides, if that mysterious voice really was Teddy, that means he was still out there, waiting for her. She had to get out. The woman finished her food. 1, 2, 3, she counted. My name is Forty. My name is Forty. She thought to herself over and over as she ran almost naked through thick brambles. Somehow she made it out of the box, armed with only a hospital gown and unceasing devotion to find Teddy once again. Did she follow the instructions to a T? Was the vent still there? She doesn't remember. But it doesn't matter. She was out anyway, but somehow, she believes that her faulty memory might come back to haunt her. She ran in the same direction as last time, towards the city. Los Santos. She finally remembered what the big city was called. In the city, she recognized no one. None of her friends were around, and even if they were, she wouldn't recognize them. She forgot, after all. She ran past landmarks that were once familiar but are now shoved out of her memory. The box hospital, integrity apartments. She never remembered all the memories she spent here. And in her stupor, she ran, almost stumbled into the only memory she retained, a headstone in the cemetery. Whose was it? She doesn't remember, but she felt Teddy leading her there. After a while, she finally reached the cemetery and the tombstone. Its markings were weathered, perhaps by time, the wind, or her own mind blocking the name out. Another person would have been able to make out what it says. But would it matter? Perhaps for the woman, the actual stone was important enough. Maybe she doesn't even know the person buried underneath. She stood over the headstone, not knowing what to do next. She cried. Tears streamed down her face. Was it from the freedom? Was it from remembering Teddy once again? She'll never know. She was there. Her and the headstone. All was in the world. All was right in the world. In an instant, fatigue slammed her to the ground. In her tattered hospital gown, the woman collapsed, her feet bloody from running, her back filled with scabs. The end. Huh. I need some water. Oh, Weejeebird wrote that. Weejee's in chat right now. Weejeebird. So thank you.